Afternoon, everyone, and good to see so many of you here. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar on Up2U University. And we would like to give you some information and a brief overview of our project. We have this agenda for today, where we will do an introduction. We will do some summary of the educational activities that are going out there in the market. We will talk a little bit about how NRENs can benefit from Up2U. And we will also be describing some of the tools in our platform and how the status of the pilots are, how to engage with how engagement for new NRENs could look like, some next actions, and if you have questions, please put them in the chat box, in the Zoom chat, and we will do that after the presentations of today. Now we would like to show you a little introduction video of Up2U.
Project is supported by NRENs, traditional and open universities, infrastructure providers, and commercial partners, providing teachers and students the right environment and tools to learn, collaborate, and revolutionize education from the ground up, boosting creativity and digital skills. A space where students are able to search, create, attend, share, and collaborate with their fellow students. Offering an innovative learning platform where teachers and students can create their own courses and digital media content. Up2U provides several tools and services to enhance teaching and learning practices, including recording and publishing, collaborative editing, content, real-time interactions, file sharing, social interactions, learning analytics. We are building the next generation digital learning environment. An open space to blend traditional and virtual learning activities to improve teaching and learning practices. Know more about the project at www.up2university.eu. Join our project. It's up to you.
So this was a little video, and of course that would also be available on our social channels, so you can review it there. But the objective of the Up2U project was to aim the bridge between the secondary schools and universities by providing a next generation digital learning environment. We would like to have this webinar, and maybe also to express that we would like to extend the scope of this maybe to universities and to other educational institutions. The Up2U consortium consists of 18 partners from university NRENs, infrastructure providers, and commercials, and from 12 different countries. This is our Up2U ecosystem. Our infrastructure blends formal and informal learning space to create an always-on educational ecosystem. Our architecture looks like this. It's built with open technology, standard APIs. It's a value add. It's scalable, modular, and portable, and most of all, interoperable. We have identified 5 key skill areas. These are based on the research prior to the start of the project, and they were identified as particularly low levels which need to be improved for the learners. As you see here, these teaching models and methodologies are complemented the skills mentioned before. So what can users do with Up2U? It's an authenticated course creation in the Up2U platform. They can record a lecture, they can upload, they can create interactive videos, they can use the storage of open educational content, so they can share their repositories, and they can also enable a virtual room communication. There are 3 Up2U consists of a continuous professional development method, and there's 3 different phases for this Up2U professional development. Phase 1 is the introduction to the ecosystem. Phase 2 is a hands-on experience and students involvement, and phase 3 are the trainers. There are right now 9 pilot countries in Up2U professional development program, and they combine technology and pedagogical and skills and educational needs with the technology and the tools. What is the value add for Up2U? For an NREN, meaning you can enrich your service portfolio and you can provide a learning platform for your teaching and learning in the community. It's easy to log on with SSO. Our solution is GDPR friendly, and you can have it your own way. So you can either have a central Up2U instance, the cloud, or you could set up a national on-prem instance of Up2U. The only thing you need is internet connectivity. More of value adds. For the universities, Up2U drives your enrollments with students ready for higher education. It reduces the dropout rate due to unexpected skills and technical requirements. For the collaborators, Up2U gives you access to schools and provide the trusted and secure delivery vehicle for your content. It also gives you community feedback on your content and services via advanced learning analytics. And Up2U also provides an international network of users. So how do you get involved? So come and experiment with the Up2U platform in the cloud, distributed private cloud, installation at PSNC in Poland, GWG in Germany, and GRNet in Greece. You can integrate components and functionalities into your LMS using GitHub, Docker Hub images, automated deployment, and configuration and documentation, and also the Up2U support. There are take the entire open source platform and you can deploy it in your own cloud if you want to. And thank you. I would like to hand the word over to Gyöngy.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Gyöngy Horváth. I'm Community Support Officer from GÉANT, and I would like to show you a couple of information and statistics on NRENs educational technologies. In the beginning, when we started to explore at GÉANT what is happening among the NRENs and their educational services and activities, we didn't know what is going on. And we found it very important to find out and look into how we can collaborate in the future. So in the beginning of the year, we created a survey with the objective to create an overview of the NRENs educational activities and services, to identify common goals to work together and common challenges, eventually creating a global vision and strategy, and to put in place a working group to drive these efforts. First, with the expert group, we defined what we mean under educational services and activities of NRENs. We mean additional activities beyond the connectivity, beyond providing fiber network or Wi-Fi, to support educational institutions with their technological evolution, innovation challenges, and opportunities. We are targeting both the teaching and learning communities and also the educational institutions. We sent out the survey to all our 43 NRENs and we received 38 responses. In the dark red or pink, you will see those who responded completely. The lighter ones are those who are still missing the completeness, and blue ones are not responded. And then here you can see in orange color all those NRENs who are providing educational services in various levels. And those NRENs are in total 35 NRENs providing additional educational services. From those, 34 to higher education, 14 to secondary, 13 to primary, and 3 of them pre-primary. We also looked at the NRENs which provide educational services, and the response was 25 of them they do, 15 doesn't, and 4 didn't respond. In the next round, we will explore further those answered no. These are the educational services we identified, so 10 different ones. And from those in dark orange, you will see those which the Up2U project currently responding to. So digital learning environment, online blended and remote delivery of education, providing e-content, learning analytics, educational staff training, open badges, digital credentialing. We also wanted to look at, for the different educational services, which are the levels the NRENs are involved with, if they are initiative, project, or service level. This map shows the heat map for Europe for different areas we identified before mentioned, and in the green color, you will see the different levels per NRENs which are involved with in these areas. This chart shows you the educational services per NREN and their levels. So next to the name of the country, you will see how many different services they provide and the length of each colored digital services and education. They show you if it is initiative level, project level, or already in service level. I wanted to show you also these charts because they show you related to Up2U on how many countries and on which level they do provide the different educational services. And as you can see, for digital learning environment, it's 19 NRENs, they are in one level involved. For online blended and remote delivery of education, 14 NRENs. For providing e-content, also 14 NRENs. And for learning analytics, 8 NRENs. The main objective of the future task force on education is to establish collaborations across the education sector on commonly identified topic areas, providing a coordinated approach to improve NREN educational services and activities. If you want to find out more, then we invite you to join us in Budapest on 4 to 5 November 2019. Thank you very much. And here I hand you over to Michal about the NGDL and pilots.
Thank you. My name is Michał Zimniewicz from PSNC in Poland, and I will provide you with some more details on these topics. So first of all, I will start with having some more light on this toolbox that was introduced by Eric. With this toolbox, we are aiming to establish this next generation digital learning environment. And here you are the functions that we provide within the toolbox. First of all, we have several learning management systems like Moodle, Common Spaces, OpenEDX. We have tools for work with contents, for searching like EDU, for sharing the content, DSpace, and the others, Swan, H5P, tools for collaborative editing, doc sharing, CERNBox, real-time interactions, video conferences. There are tools for recording and publishing videos. These are Cellcont and Poddium. and also we are aiming for learning analytics and open badges. Regarding the architecture of our solution, I would say it's rather not a single platform, and it's exactly a toolbox of tools and services available to teachers and their students. We don't go for this walled garden approach, which is an old school idea of having LMS with limited functionality and ask users to do only what is available in this LMS. We rather aim for an open garden, which is a free wide set of tools that can be freely chosen by their teachers and adopt only those functions that they need for their scenarios. From technical perspective, we have those different kind of architectures were considered, but we dropped this LMS-based architecture in which LMS is a based component of the ecosystem and is needed to do almost anything. We rather transformed to what you see on the right side, to NGDLE architecture, in which LMS is only one tool among the others, and users are able to choose what they need from this toolbox. And now I would like to go to our particular software pieces to give you a quick overview of what is the functionality of the toolbox. First of all, single sign-on. So we have a single place in which you authenticate to all the tools and services within Up2U with a single user account. You can log in with your EduGain account, you can log in with your social media accounts, or you can easily create your own account in our toolbox. Next, we have several services. First of all is file Sync&Share solution. We use CERNBox to provide this functionality. It's based on OwnCloud and has been developed in CERN and provides basic file sharing services. It's also integrated to other tools in our ecosystem like Moodle. We have two tools for video conferencing. These are Knockplop and Multiparty Meeting. They provide video conference functionality right in your browser without installing anything. They have similar functionality, they just differ with architecture. The next one is a tool based on Jupyter notebooks. It's called Swan. It's also developed at CERN. It provides rich code, equations, diagrams in your web browser. You can execute computer programs, code, make calculations, reports for schools, for school assignments, and so on. The next tool, actually a set of tools we have integrated, it's H5P. It's a set of interactive quizzes and assignments. It's a portfolio of tens of different kinds of such assignments that can be used by teachers to create interactive materials for their students, for instance, within an LMS. For sharing contents, we adopted a service created at Jound, EDU, which is a single search engine in which you can, in one place, search for educational resources from tens of repositories built across Europe. For sharing educational resources and reusing them, we provided DSpace, which is a place where teachers or students can share educational resources, some assignments they created, so they can be later reused by the community. For video management, we provide two tools. The first one is Poddium. It's a personal video recorder that enables users to record video right in their web browser. They can record their video from the camera. They can also record what they do in the desktop, for instance, to create some tutorials by teachers for students. It does not require any specific installation in your computer, and it's currently a proprietary software, but within Up2U pilots is available for free for everyone. The second tool that enables users to record videos is Cellcon, and in addition it provides the way to synchronize lecture slides with lecture recordings, so you can make a combined material that can be later accessed by the students, so they can learn, look for the material after lectures. And last but not least, we have learning management systems. The first we use is Moodle, but apart from it, we also provide common spaces and open EDX. And apart from those functions, we are also building learning analytics solution, because learning is happening everywhere, not only in the classroom, not only at computer, it's happening everywhere, and we are trying to provide a tool to collect information on the progress of the learners. And the architecture of this solution is as follows. We have this set of tools that are introduced, and those tools report data on users' actions. The data is learning records. We used a standard XAPI, Experience API for that. We store this data from all the tools in one place in Learning Locker, and based on that we can create reports to make analytics of what learners do. Currently it's used by our expert to improve our services, and we are also working on providing such reports to the teachers. Apart from learning analytics, we are also aiming for open badges, which is an initiative from Mozilla, and the idea is to be able to issue badges, kind of certificates to teachers, to students, that are later recognized by large open badges communities like other universities, employers, and other institutions. Okay, this was about the functions of the toolbox and a quick overview about the architecture. So we follow a microservices architecture, so all the components are built in small or microservices. They are all containerized. We use Docker containers. So this is what Eric mentioned, that all the toolbox is very portable, so you can easily take our images and quickly run them in your infrastructure. For running the containers in infrastructure, we also follow modern standards for orchestration of the containers in the servers. The solutions we adopted are Docker Compose and Kubernetes to make it very easy for administrators, for operators to manage all the containers, their configuration, their dependencies between each other, and so on. And all the software pieces that I introduced are available in our GitHub profile. You have the address here, github.com/up2university, so you can have a look there. There are also some documentations, and this is a place where we are continuously improving the components. And finally, I would like to say a few words about our pilots, because apart from integrating software, we are having pilots with real students. We are teachers to, first of all, for students to practice their key skills, key competences that Eric introduced. And for us, it's an opportunity to improve our services, our products. So we collect feedback from them and learn based on that. An important information here is that we believe teacher is the crucial point to make this available to offer such services to students. So as Eric said, we developed this continuous professional development approach, CPD. In some countries, even we get an official certification for teachers participating in CPD. In other countries, we implemented soft CPD approach to quickly train the teachers on what kind of technology we have and to make them confident to use the technology with their students in classroom. And finally, we also publish training materials. We are publishing training materials in our website. This is the address. So even without specialized training, users should be able to self-start with the toolbox. And regarding the pilot countries, currently we have 7 countries already active with students working with in schools. These are Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, Hungary, Poland, and Lithuania. There are also another 2, Germany and UK, that are preparing to introduce the Up2U to students, and to hopefully maybe some of you will also join this activity. To give you some light on our statistics, in blue on the red side, on the right side, you can see how many schools we already have. We have several schools in different countries. Lithuania is our leading country currently, but in blue you have schools in which we have students already working with Up2U, but in yellow we have larger numbers of teachers already trained. So hopefully many of them will soon move to the pilot phase with their students. And last but not least, as I said, we are trying to collect feedback from our users. So we not only deliver this software, but we also measure what do users think about that, what the teacher think, what the students think, how do they work with the tools. We collect data, feedback data, and learn how to improve our services to reflect what they expect. So thank you, and I would like now to ask Raimundas to provide some more details for you on how you can engage in Up2U.
PSNC Poland. Hello, my name is Raimundas Tuminauskas. I'm from PSNC in Poland, and I mean the reason we are here presenting the Up2U is also to present the work that we've done, but it's also the fact that we believe that the NRENs are in the best position actually to provide these services for the educational sector, and the NRENs are in the best position to create the bridge between the universities as a content providers, as a potential high interest group who has a content to deliver for the educational sector, and the schools who are looking for the content and who are looking for the next generation digital learning environments. So without further ado, Eric has already outlined the benefits of what and added value. So what's in it for us, really, for the pilot phase? It's a very easy, and Barbara will talk later on a specific how to and what to do in the Up2 universe. But now for the pilot, it's a very easy hosted solution where you can simply opt in and try the services, try to engage the schools, and see how it works in your country. Or you could do it on your own, get the available software from the GitHub, from the Docker Hub, implement it, and try it yourself. So Up2U has to offer knowledge, community, toolkit, and even pedagogical scenarios for the NRENs who are interested in a pilot. So for the pilot, you have to contact us first, and then we can proceed in a dialogue. However, the pilot is free until the end of the project, but for the next phases, we also we were considering how to engage ourselves and how to proceed with delivery of this service and the infrastructure to the education community. So this post-pilot phase requires a little bit more consideration, and first of all, stepping back and looking into the statistics that Gyöngy presented, and into the some of the statistics that are available in the compendium. And drawing on that statistics, we sort of loosely grouped NRENs into three types. It is by no means strict grouping, because the educational sector is very dependent on the national or even regional policies. So every NREN in every country has a slightly different situation, but roughly there are four types, although three are depicted here, four types of the NRENs. So the first type is the NREN who is the entity who connects and who provides the services to schools in their countries. So these NRENs have visibility into individual schools as a connectivity and service customers, as an organizations. Type 2 NRENs involve third parties. It is a mixed situation where NRENs connect and provide services, or provide some services to some schools, like, for example, it could be EduGain, but the some interaction with schools is based on the national or the regional entities who connect schools, who provide the content for schools. So it's not, NREN is not alone there. It's common situation in the larger countries. And a third type of the involvement is where there are third parties who take care of the educational sector, be it a single third party or be it a multiple third parties, for example, based on the regions in a country. Based on the compendium data, there is evidence that that NRENs do provide the network transit in some cases for those third parties and for the schools, but most certainly NRENs do not have a visibility into the single school. So based on these three types, when thinking about involvement and when thinking about proceeding with the Up2U services after the pilot phase, everyone should identify the role that we as NRENs want to play in our respective countries. We derived these roles loosely on the Giant Cloud service, because the Up2U services are to a certain extent similar to the cloud service. So first of all, first role is a service provider. The service provider means do it yourself at home. That means that NRENs implement the Up2U Toolbox, or whatever part of it they want to implement to supplement their services, they implement it on their own as a local implementation. As an Up2U, a consortium and community, we are ready to support you with the knowledge, with the training, and in some cases with the development of the tools where it's feasible. But in the end, you are providing full portfolio of the services to the schools. So it's a very lightweight collaboration. But if you are in a type 1 NREN, where you need only to supplement your service, it would be probably most usable role. There's also a mixed role of the integrator, where you can choose actually what would you like to do on your own and what would you like to outsource from the current or future members of the Up2U. What would you like to do on your own and what would you like to provide on a hosted infrastructure that is currently available in Poland, Germany, and Greece, and maybe available among the other in the other locations as well. So this is a stricter relationship because it involves some cost in the post-pilot phase, but still you as an NREN, or we as an NREN, are responsible for provision of these services. Actually, so the interaction and the hosted infrastructure of the service is hidden behind the fact that the NREN nationally is a provider of the service. So for the third type is a referrer type. It addresses type 2 and type 3, where NRENs do not have capability, resources, or are not within the policy to provide their services. However, we are community of the NRENs, and we are community of the higher education. So in most cases, NRENs do serve universities, and NRENs are the contact points for the international collaborations like GIAN. So in this case, NRENs act as an intermediaries, referrers between the Up2U community, universities, and the third parties who are providing the actual services and connectivity to schools. In this case, the Toolbox is either implemented or outsourced by the third party, and NREN acts as a part of the supply chain, but only to perform intermediary role and to know that this service is being offered to the community. So in order to facilitate the consideration of the roles, we also looked at what could be the cost models for ourselves, for the NRENs who are engaged in the Up2U project on the post-pilot phase, and for NRENs who would like to be engaged in the Up2U project. We came up with two essentially cost models. Additional cost model is a simpler one because it is based on the fact that NRENs who would like to add something from the Up2U Toolbox to their services already operate some services and some infrastructure dedicated to the educational community. So in that sense, in that case, NRENs have the funding also for that infrastructure. And if it could accommodate some parts of the Toolbox, then it's only additional costs that would be incurred, additional costs for training, additional cost for support for these new services, some of it for the deployment. Other costs could involve licensing, like a Poddium software. These are not much less significant than the full costs where we have to consider the dedicated infrastructure, either at home or outsourced, for the Up2U toolbox. And then it is a full cost coverage for these services. But in that case, additional cost is not scalable, because if we look at the scalability from 10 to 100 to 1,000 to 10,000 schools, even if each school has only 100 users, then it would mean that for 10,000 we will be talking about hundreds of thousands of users, if not millions. So that is a significant infrastructure, and most probably at some point in a development, the additional cost model will have to be switched to the full cost model. But in order to do that, you have to calculate, sort of project the scale of the deployment and look into various stages of the deployment. However, we are going to do this, and we recommend to start with the additional cost model to see if the additional costs for the initial pilot phases are so small that it could be accommodated within the elasticity of the NREN budget at all. And for the production and full-scale deployments, it would be better to consider full cost model. And with that, I leave you with Barbara, who will talk how to get engaged with the Up2U.
Hello everyone, my name is Barbara Tóth. I work at the Hungarian NREN KIFU, and I am responsible for the communication and dissemination activities of this project. Reaching out and engaging with schools are among the most crucial aspects of this project. We mapped out our audience and our main stakeholders in Up2U, created this Up2U message board that you can see on this slide. In the middle, you can find high schools as one of our most important stakeholders, and next to them are the universities and NRENs. Based on our experiences with the pilots, we can say that we cannot provide a solution that works for all, but we can give you some tips on how to engage with your audience. In some countries, the top-down approach worked, meaning reaching out to schools via local or central governments and explaining them that our solution is useful in the classroom. And in other cases, the bottom-up approach was more successful when we engaged with teachers, principals, or the schools themselves first. Based on our experiences, they do appreciate direct contact and local events such as workshops, conferences, or trainings, whether these are face-to-face events or virtual ones. I'd like to highlight that trainings, especially accredited trainings, are very much appreciated and were very much successful. We wish to help you engaging with the schools or other sectors of education by providing you a bunch of promotional materials, flyers, roll-ups, the promotional video that you saw in the beginning of the webinar, posters, and a couple of introductory slides for the project. All these materials are accessible via the wiki page of the webinar, and you are free to use them. Our main platform is our project website, where we have a dedicated space for direct contact under the Contact Us section with a picture of the national coordinators. We found that a dedicated person for each country is very important, and the audience that we try to reach appreciates this very much. if you plan to incorporate Up2U among your service portfolio, we would be happy to include your contracts here. So students or teachers from your country can reach you from our website. Besides our website, we are present on social media interfaces too. We have Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We use Up2Universe as a hashtag and as our account name also. Please follow us and let us know if you would like us to share contact that could be useful for our audience. Thank you for your attention and feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
So thank you for listening. We now have our time for some questions or comments, if any.
Okay.
Yeah, Jungi, take it from here.
One question from our local room, Magda.
Am I unmuted? Oh, okay. Hi. So it's Magda here. So I've been following from some time the Up2U development. It looks like it's really more and more complex and developed, so it's really good. But I was just wondering, I have 2 children myself, in secondary school in the Netherlands, and I know that they're using so many of different existing tools from commercial providers, and it's also individually adapted by teachers. So what's your main pitch for the schools to adapt Up2U tools and products?
Okay. Yes, it's true. It's hard what our main pitch should be. I know that both Michael and Barbara has both running it in PSNC in Hungary. So Michael, how did you pitch it to be that tool in PSNC or in Poland?
Yeah, okay, that's true that there are a lot of existing alternatives in the market, but most of them are just single tools for specific purpose. What we promote is not only the toolbox of services, toolbox of separate tools, but we provide integration between them. So there is a lot of scenarios that include working with several tools altogether. The integration, sharing files between the tools. From one tool you can easily open another one. So it is a added value of this toolbox that the services are connected, and the connection is based on the requirements that come from our community. So they are built to reflect what users expect to do in learning scenarios and so on. So I think it's important point for the users.
Okay, thank you.
And the next question is Irina Matthews. Irina, can you unmute?
Hi, yeah, good afternoon. Sorry, yeah, I'll miss the notification screen. Yes, so can I ask my questions?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you so much for everyone. There was a lot of information, very specific and very detailed. So as I was listening to the presenters, I just have would like to clarify just a couple of points. One is, can the Up2U platform be, you mentioned, Eric, at the start, interoperability of the platform. So can you just clarify whether this platform can be integrated with the LMS that organizations may have already, like Moodle or Blackboard or whatever else they might have?
Yes, and yes, it is. It can actually be integrated with the platform you have already. If I'm not wrong, then we have already integrated with 3 different LMS systems. So you can pick and choose as long as they are supported by LTI, I would assume. Mikhail is nodding, I can see that, so he agrees with me. So as long as your LMS system supports LTI, it can be integrated into the platform, yes.
Okay, and can I ask a bit more specific question about this? You mentioned data analytics, which comes as part of the functionality of the platform. When the integration happens, how is the data is integrated with the, well, I use the word mainstream, yeah, the main LMS that the organization may use. Or if I'm an administrator, do I need to go to 2 separate parts to get my data about users of Up2U, or can I go to the my LMS analytics and just do the filtering and reporting on the specific group of users?
Mikhail, yes.
So the learning analytics data in form of these API statements. Each statement describes what an action of a user, like what user did and in what tool or service. And what we currently do in Up2U is to collect such kind of statements from many tools, to collect them in one place in Learning Record Store, which for us is currently Learning Locker. In Learning Locker, we collect all the statements, we can filter them, look for part of the data that is interesting for you, look for some reports and create your own reports, and so on. And as far as I understand your question, you would like to move the data to other system like your LMS, right?
Well, I don't think particularly I would love to do it, but I'm just thinking if I were the administrator, say, at the university, right? And we employed that Up2U platform to help the students to bridge the gap between the secondary and higher education. Then as administrator, I would deal with 2 banks of data, right? They will not be kind of, even though the platforms are integrated, the data analytics which come with Up2U platform will stay in one place, and the rest of the LMS is just continue to be the way it is currently.
Well, so we simply support the existing standard,
Right.
API.
Okay.
So the data is in the standard, and you as an administrator, you are free to choose where to send the data.
Okay.
You can collect it in, as I said, we have this microservices Docker, so you just do plug and play. You can choose some tools that generate these XAPI statements, but you don't need to take Learning Locker. You can configure them to send them to just another service like LMS to have it in one place. Actually, it's something that we already do a bit, because in one of our LMSs in Moodle, there is already a learning analytics plugin. But currently in this plugin, you could only see the data coming from Moodle, so we don't use it. We just move this data to other place where they are aggregated with the data from other services.
Okay, all right, thank you. And do I have time to ask another question?
Please go.
Okay, thank you. So my other question is, you mentioned at the beginning that the use of Open Garden architecture as a preferred solution. So is it possible to get the brief summary of how you see the Open Garden architecture actually contributes towards development of the key skills and competencies that mentioned earlier?
Yes, that should be possible.
Just as briefly, just maybe as a bullet point, just as a list.
I don't think we actually combined them directly before, but yes, that's a good idea.
So I think,
we create it.
Oh, thank you. I think it's just as a kind of, I'm listening from the point of view thinking if I were the institutional organization, because that skills gap is really important, to bridge. because people who leave secondary or higher education, and when they get enrolled in universities, they really find themselves a bit at a loss, because they don't have the same knowledge management skills, and all the skills that you mentioned at the beginning. So I think as an institution, I would be quite interested to have this clear understanding of how the kind of technical thinking behind the platform really, the reasons behind creating platform in a particular way really leads to bridging the skills gap.
Yes.
I think it's just an interesting subject kind of to maybe bring forward.
Yep.
That's my opinion. Yeah, it's kind of sharing with you.
Fine, that's perfect. That's a good idea.
There is one more question from Topi Litmanen, a technical question about user organizational management. How do you manage the multiple schools or higher education institutions within your platform? Do you provide organizations for each institution, or are all institutions managed within a single area of tenant?
So Mikhail, that will be you again.
Yeah, so we currently are testing two approaches in the pilots, because we don't have an uniform architecture for all the pilots currently. For in most pilots in most countries, we are having a tenant-like architecture in which in particular tools users are grouped according to their institutions. So there is a group manager, for instance, IT administrator of a school. They can assign roles to their fellow teachers. Teachers can create subgroups to which they invite their students. But for instance, in Lithuania, we wanted to try a different approach to see how users work with that, and then we are having tenancy built in other way. We actually run different LMS instance for each school. It's also feasible with our architecture Docker based, so we can easily create new services for new incoming schools, and there we simply follow another solution. So we have both. We haven't choose any particular of it. We just develop both in parallel. So you, as an NREN wanting to adopt the software, you are free to choose an approach.
Thank you very much. And I believe that we don't have so much time left, and I would like to ask you all to give us a short feedback. So we ask you to go to menti.com and insert the number 292466. So thank you again. We would like to ask you to please rate at least on this first slide that you are all there in the slide itself. So please mark if you like it, if you find disliked it, if you have questions, if you loved it, or something else like a cat. So I would like to ask you to please mark. I see it's coming in. Great. So once again, the code 292466. Thank you very much. And please state what type of organizations do you represent. This will be important for us for the follow-up. So mark if you are an NREN, if you're a university, or any other institutions listed. So great, we already have 10 responses, 13 responses from all the 24, 15, great. We are all complete from all the 18 attendees. We are looking forward to the last 3 participants. Okay, so the next one, Please mark which levels of educational institutions do you represent and or support. Here you can also have multiple choices, so please mark all of those which you represent. Grade 7 responses, 9 out of the 17. "12, we are almost complete. 13 responses, 14, great. We are almost there with all the 17 attendees. Very nice. Thank you so much. Then please scale if you agree or disagree, that if you have a good understanding about Up2U, if you are interested in future involvement, and if you want to know more about Up2U. Again, 1, 2, 3, the number is coming. Eight participants responded already. Very nice. All 15, 16, and all complete. And in this slide, please insert what you would like to know more. You can insert multiple questions. This will help us to do a follow-up. And I will promise you that after this webinar, we will send you the link to the recorded slide, to the wiki page. And also, we will try to address all your questions, what you want to know more, once you put it up here. So one respondent already. Please add if you would like to hear more, what you would like to know more. So already the second response, third response are coming up. More information about functionalities, integration, and cost. And the feedback from schools. What is the sixth threat of Up2U proliferation in Lithuania? And if you can have a look at some use cases, definitely there is a clear answer for that. Who is using the platform the most? Student, teachers, NRENs, and more information about what kinds of use cases could this platform be used for. Very nice. How it's implemented in university settings, pilot universities, use cases. Great. Thank you so much. And we will ask again, we will respond all your questions on the wiki page and in the follow-up. So on behalf of Up2U project and all our panelists, I would like to thank you all for joining today on today's webinar. And we look forward to collaborating with you in the future. If you have any questions, then you can email us on the contact@list.up2university.eu or reach out directly to us. Thank you so much. Wish you a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.